All right, why don't we get started? We've set up the day to have a fair number of breaks so that people get a chance to talk. I mean, so don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to socialize. So thanks for coming to the AMP Lab End of Project event. I'm Mike Franklin, one of the directors of the lab. And it's a tradition for these computer science labs here at Berkeley after we do our thing for 5 or 6 years to get everybody together to reflect on what the project was able to accomplish, maybe a few things that turned out differently than we expected, and so on. And so really today is meant as a celebration. We've invited people that have been associated with the lab since the very beginning. And really, it's just a chance to build community and to kind of enjoy the success that we were able to have and all the fun that we were able to have in the process of doing this research. So we've got, as I said, I think a very interesting and exciting program for today. And we're going to start it off with just a few small words of introduction from some of the key people who help support the lab from the department and from the university's perspective. And so I think we'll just jump right into those. So the first person I'd like to ask to come up is Paul Alivisatos, who I had that practice a second ago. But Paul is the Vice Chancellor for Research here at Berkeley, and he's been in that role for, I think, about 7 months. And in a very AMP-like way, he's decided to bring in a bunch of new ideas and a bunch of new ways of thinking about research at a major university like Berkeley. And so I'd like Paul to come up and say a few words. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Mike. I just first, I just want to congratulate you because, I've been a professor for a long time, and it's pretty rare to see a community that's willing not just to create entities, but to also allow them to sunset. And I think that's actually a vital part of a cycle of research. So I congratulate you on that. And I've been listening and talking with people all through this morning while I've been out here learning about how you've put together your groups and how you are planning things, and I think it's really interesting. So I want to congratulate you for that, because what I see is some of the best of the spirit of Berkeley, which is to really attack the hard problems in a timely way, to bring people together in a cooperative way to do that, to be willing to make some choices, and also to really be engaged from the beginning, not just in the discovery, but also in the implications of the discovery for the world around us. And all of those things, to me, are just really defining characteristics of Berkeley scholarship, and it's one of the reasons that it's so impactful. So I see all of those characteristics here, and I'm very pleased to see it. Just since I have a moment, and there's a bunch of colleagues here, I'll say, as Michael mentioned, I have been working over the summer and into the fall with a lot of faculty around the campus to think about some new cooperative activities, and many of the characteristics of the kinds of things that you're putting into creating something like an AMP lab or RISE to follow it and so on are things that I'm going to be copying. We received more than 30 proposals about a month ago from faculty groups about some ideas, and we're pretty close to reaching some conclusions about supporting a small number of those and then continuing that process on an ongoing basis and having things, again, come and go on a regular clock. So I'm very excited about that, and I just wanted also to let you know that after a lot of conversations, we've kind of thought through an agenda for next semester that my office will be sponsoring, besides trying to bring those 3 to 5 programs up that I've described to you. but can't enumerate yet because we haven't reached a final conclusion. But the two topics that we're going to be having broad discussion on next semester are entrepreneurship at Berkeley writ large, and trying to understand what we do well and what we could do better there. And second topic will be all around the engagement of undergraduates in discovery, whether it be through direct research or through engagement in other ways during the course of their, but essentially undergraduate research, if you like, will be so those are two topics that we're going to be pursuing. And if those are topics that you're interested in, I'd really encourage you to be starting to think about them in a campus-wide kind of way, and to engage with me as I start to get a bunch of new ideas coming in those spaces about how we can do much better. So I'd like to congratulate you again, and I really look forward to being able to stay for a little bit of the time here to learn more about the story of AmpLab and what happened. And if there's any way that I can help you as you pursue your research across the campus, please don't hesitate to be in contact with me.
All right, thanks very much, Paul, and thanks for taking time out of what I'm sure is a crazy schedule to come spend a little time with us. Next, I'd like to invite Jitendra Malik up to say a few words. So Jitendra is the department chair of the EECS department. He has maybe the dubious distinction of being, I think, the first person to have that job twice. I feel somewhat responsible for that, and I apologize. But Jitendra has a long, distinguished career in research, and I think would rather be spending his time extending that career in research. But he's stepped in to help out the department through a big phase of growth and taking on some new initiatives. So, Jitendra, if you'd like to come up for a few words.
Thank you, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to welcome you all on behalf of the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. Obviously, Berkeley is ranked highly as, the usual rankings of, we are ranked first in CS and E and in E. But there is a unique aspect of Berkeley which is captured in this particular project, the AMP project, and many others that have preceded it. So projects such as RISC, projects such as RAID, projects such as the network of workstations, which led to cluster computing, and so on and so forth. And you already know the characteristics. It's a group of faculty who decide to work together with a set of industrial partners and friends, a group of students, and a certain model where you have a project which runs for, say, 5 years, and then it's sunset, and you try to accomplish something in the meanwhile. AMP has been a great success by all the usual metrics by which we judge any research in a field, in an engineering field. Obviously, there is impact out in industry through Spark and so forth. Companies which have resulted in that, but also by the usual academic criteria. Best paper awards. Best dissertation awards. One of the, Matej Zaharia got the ACM Dissertation Award. John Ducci got honorable mention for that. The students who came out from this project did outstanding research, and they landed up with outstanding jobs associated with that. So this is our bit to help our competitors. So Stanford, MIT, Cornell, etc. They're getting so we produce our best and then we give them away. So I think by last count, there were 4 faculty at Stanford and 2 at MIT who came out of this project. So, and the tradition continues. I want you to know that. AMP will be succeeded by RISE. There are other groups in the department which have a similar style of project. I personally I'm a computer vision researcher and machine learning researcher. So there is a Berkeley AI Research Lab. There in the E side, there's the so-called Swarm Lab, BSAC, et cetera, et cetera. So I hope this tradition continues at Berkeley. I think it's been very effective. But first and foremost, I want to congratulate you all the participants in this project, and it's wonderful to be here at this celebration of the culmination of this project. Thank you all very much.
All right, well, thanks, Jitendra. So our next speaker is actually a speaker in absentia. So Mike Jordan was one of the co-directors of the lab, or is one of the co-directors of the lab, and he's somewhere exotic, I'm not sure where, but he did send a video, so we've got a short video. Oh, and Shane is going to keep me from embarrassing myself, at least technically.
I don't think I can do that.
All right, here's number 2. There you go. I'll show him how to do it. All right. Okay, so this is Mike. You're allowed to, he can't see, so you're allowed to yawn, make faces, whatever, but it's guaranteed to finish on time.
Hello, friends and colleagues. I'm talking to you on November the 9th. I'm currently in Europe. But today, November the 9th, is day after the elections, so you guys a week later are in hopefully a better state of mind than I'm in. Yeah, so enough about the elections, and let's talk about the AMP Lab. So I'm delighted about this event, and delighted to recognize this huge enterprise involving so many people. Thanks to my colleagues Mike and Jan, and all the other faculty in the AMP Lab. It's been a fantastic experience. I don't think anyone really believed that machine learning and systems could come together in such an intimate way and lead to so many great projects and have such an impact, but it really has happened. I just wanted to maybe mention a couple of high points along the way for me. When I first came to Berkeley, in fact, I was just so impressed by the potential of statistical ideas and computer science ideas, broadly speaking, coming together. I saw that already in some of the work of many of the faculty here, and it felt that not just AI, but all of computer science was sort of ready to take on the agenda of taking data in and making decisions and so on. So we're still in the middle of that, and it's not over. In fact, the polls yesterday is a good example of taking in a lot of data and making maybe not the actual correct decision. So our work is definitely not done. Anyway, along the way, just one project that maybe is a little older, but statistical debugging. This was work with Alice Zhang in my group and then Alex Aiken's group, where we put in little measurement devices in a compiler, and it spit out information as code was running dynamically and sent that back to a central server. And did statistical analysis and helped find bugs. So that area, statistical debugging, still goes on to this day. Next project that really made an impact on my way of thinking was Bag of Little Bootstraps. Ariel Kleiner, who may be there today, and others in the group worked on this, which was thinking about error bars and thinking about errors that statistical systems can make. Again, kind of a very relevant thing as of this day. And going forward. So scalable notions of error bars, that really brought computer science and statistics together fundamentally. Divide and conquer matrix factorization. Amit may again be there, and then Lester Mackey led this project. Kind of a beautiful way of bringing divide and conquer style parallelism into algorithms. And then it led to a really beautiful theoretical analysis involving Stein's method from probability theory. So that's also had a big impact on my group. We're more theoretical than ever before, partly just because of seeing that these novel problems came up involving serious computing and serious algorithms, and they needed some new theory. So that's still ongoing to this day. Ginger Smith led the project called COCO, which is a state-of-the-art distributed learning system or optimization system, parallel and primal dual methods, and it has a real future ahead of it, already been quite a success. Then there's been a project on concurrency and asynchrony. Xinghao Pan and Horia Mana have been doing some of the latest and greatest work on that project. And again, it's beautifully mathematically, it's going to have an impact going forward on how people design systems that are asynchronous and have high degrees of concurrency. Just two more, and then I'll finish and let you get on to the rest of the meeting. John Ducci has done some really beautiful work in the AMP Lab on privacy-aware learning. How do you take in data and fuzz it up in such a way that you guarantee people's privacy, but you still use the data effectively for a learning system, for machine learning, for prediction. A successful project, but also has a big life ahead of it. And then lastly, there's a project just this summer that's kind of come to fruition after a couple of years of work. Aisha Wilson and Andrew Wibisono have discovered a variational framework for understanding acceleration methods and optimization. This is a fundamental issue about how fast can you go downhill. And it turns out that there's a lower bounds for how fast you can possibly go, and there's a notion of what it means to be the optimal way to optimize. It's been missing from the kind of thinking style of people in the field, and it's now present thanks to Aisha and Andrew's work. So anyway, those are highlights. Those have definitely helped shape my own thinking about what we can achieve and what we need to do, what the challenges are going forward. And I'm just as energetic as I've ever been about research, about computer science, about statistical inference. Looking forward to the ongoing collaborations with the RISE Lab and other things at Berkeley. Go Bears.